grab a drink.
Okay. We'll just turn the camera on and see what happens.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Chris, try not to smile over there.
It's okay. He blew a bunch of shots last time.
Shut up! Your goose blew the shots.
He just starts laughing like at random moments.
No, I would laugh once I got the okay from you laughing. I was the most quiet out of everybody.
No, this guy over here just blew.
Alright, we're gonna have to look over that footage.
The new Jada. I saw him the other day. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about like the origins of like this nickname or whatever, the energy reader?
Yeah, it'd be good to ask the clients, but it is this consistent theme that I've had when I work with people. I think when I ask them what they mean, it's just more that I can really sense how they're doing that day, like down to the core emotion, what's going on with their situation, why they maybe are feeling that way. And so I think it's maybe one of the first times that they've actually been seen in a way that somebody's like showing up for them. And so that's where the nickname has kind of come from.
Right on. Could you talk a little bit about what you do, like just state your name and then tell us like what you do here?
Yeah.
Sort of.
My name is Stasia Rivera, and I'm from Prescott, and I am a therapist here. I do large groups, and on my own I see individual clients, and I'm in the process of becoming a somatic experiencing therapist. I'm in my last year of that.
What does that mean, somatic experience?
Well, it's funny because it's kind of the science of what I think we're both curious about is the energy piece. And so there's an in-depth study of the nervous system. It was created by a man named Peter Levine, and it's just very much kind of connecting back to our old brain and our old energy and working through some traumatic events that have maybe stopped us from being able to access our full energy potential in this space.
Right on.
It's the geeky side, yeah.
I get it. I'm not so much into that side of it because my brain just doesn't really comprehend.
I'll kind of come back around because what it did for me was create a way to connect to it. And so it made it make sense for me why I always had this way. But now I kind of understand how we're all connected through this energetic system, which is our nervous system. Yeah. Yeah.
So can we talk about the day when you said that to Luke or whatever? Like why did you say that about Luke's energy?
Yeah. So yeah, you and Luke were sitting in the parking lot or standing, and I'm pretty close with Luke, and so I see him on a daily basis, and it was a particular face that I saw that he made, and it was just kind of this energy shot, like, he seems overwhelmed. He doesn't seem like he's in a good place. And I never assume that I'm right, but most of the time I'll check in, like, hey, what's up? You doing all right? And at that point it was accurate. He was feeling pretty overwhelmed and I think a little bit shut down. And so it was more of an energy read that he was sending and that I happened to pick up as I walked out of the door of the building.
Okay, so can we talk about the term energy and try to define it a little bit?
Yeah. Whew. Energy. I think from what kind of this topic of how we share energy, the way that I'm starting to understand it more is that it is a way that our nervous systems are connecting and kind of working to find this balance together. I think we create our own energy frequency kind of connected to that system. And it's a way that we'll have to edit right now. As we attune to our own energy and our own frequency that we're sending out, I think it's a way that we connect with other frequencies. And so it's something that's very contagious. And I think when you meet people that are presenting with a balanced energy or a way that they really are aware of themselves, it invites a connection that feels safer and more like worldly and like almost an old experience that we all know. It's just a matter of reconnecting to it.
Okay, so that would be like the positive energy, right?
Uh-huh.
Like what would be on the opposite end of that with like the negative energy?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's a positive side, there's probably always a negative side. And I think the negative is just people that haven't been attuned to and haven't learned how to attune to themselves and create positive energy. And so if anything, maybe times in their life when they've had positive energy, it's had a negative experience connected to it. So their belief system that they could have energy again that would be positive is kind of stunted. So all the more reason...
You're on a roll.
Yeah.
Hey.
He's got a roll.
Yeah, that's good, probably. Just unplug it.
Sorry.
That's
That was
okay.
kind of one of those unforeseen things
Right?
that kind of happened.
An energy thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know where you had left off or anything, but
Just basically, I agree that there's the positive end, and then there's also there's always going to be a negative end. And I think the negative end is more that the individual hasn't learned how to attune or calm themselves or regulate their system in a way that can connect with others. And so part of the healing process, and I think part of the reason why people end up medicating, is because of this lack of balance or this lack of feeling like I'm okay. And as that kind of comes back online, that invites the connection to others.
this is like exactly like what that Celestine Prophecy book is about, because it's about a manuscript, it's kind of like, have you ever read The Alchemist?
Yeah.
It's like a journey of sorts, and so they use this manuscript to push everything. There's like 9 insights, that's what they call it, 9 insights.
See, that's
and so
cool.
It talks about a lot about this and about the energies giving back and forth and how some are positive, and then they give all these terms for the negative side and like the intimidator and things like that.
Okay. And then do they have like people that are the readers or people that can pick up on it more?
Sure.
Is that part of it? Because
is.
there is. I mean, I know I meet people that it's just like something is different. And I was going to kind of speak to that because part of it that I think it is that somebody that's experienced dysregulation, they are able to see that in somebody else. Like it's a memory. And so when you feel that memory and you start to try to connect with somebody else, then it creates this connection on that frequency. And so sometimes that can be a great thing, and sometimes it's a really not a great thing because you're inviting that same system to stay in the negative.
Mhm.
So the more that you start to believe in the positivity, then you're able to connect with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought when I was getting high, I always thought that these people were attracted to me, but it turns out it's like I was the one seeking them out. You know?
Right. Yeah. I love when people are like, crazy people follow me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. This one is kind of going to be along the same lines, but it's: do you believe that the world is connected through energy?
I absolutely believe that the world is connected through energy. It's one of my primary reasons that I've chosen this profession. I believe that we can all create a more positive frequency that we can live on, and that we can share that with others once we find it in ourselves. And absolutely, it's a connecting way that we all know, like I keep saying, this sacred place, this sacred truth that we all experience on different levels, but the more that you invite it in, the more that it just becomes sustainable.
Yeah, I like that a lot because it talks about that. Like once you open your mind to it, or the aware, it's just different terms that they're using. It's
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. But
And that's why when I went into somatic experiencing, I was like, oh, this is so cool that it actually makes sense of why I can pick up on this energy. Because it's really just like, I know what dysregulation feels like. I know how regulation feels like now that I'm aware of it. And so when I learned this model, it was like I was able to create a sense of why we are the way we are with our energy. So it was helpful.
right on. These terms, dysregulation and regulation.
Uh-huh.
Can you talk about those for a minute?
Yeah. So the way that the nervous system is patterned, it can tend to have a way of going one way or the other. And it kind of gets informed from our nature, our nurture, our background, our traumas, our successes. And so we start to have this frequency that we kind of create. And for some people, that frequency becomes very dysregulated. And dysregulation is just basically the lack of harmony and just always this state of kind of hypervigilance. It can look different for everybody. It can be depression, shutdown, overwhelm. constant negativity, belief systems around why I feel this way start to be created. Regulation is kind of just the counterpart to that. So when I'm feeling in the here and now, I'm actually able to handle what's going on around me. I'm able to self-soothe. When I'm starting to feel little spikes of dysregulation, I'm able to kind of calm my system back into being in the here and now and connecting. This is where we connect with others. We form attachments in this place.
Oh, all right. And I think this one is going to be a little general. And I think what I'm asking, it says define open-mindedness.
Okay.
But I think it's. I'd like to go to do that one, but also like to touch on like define awareness or like the consciousness of like opening your mind to it.
Okay. Yeah. I guess the way I would define open-mindedness and awareness is regulation, that I'm in my body, I'm in the here and now, and I'm open enough to receive not only my own energy that day, but what all other energy is going on around me. And if it's negative, I'm resourced enough that that's not disrupting me. And if it's positive, I'm joining in and celebrating that and connecting with other people.
Do you know what the term synchronicity means?
Uh-huh.
Can we talk about that for a minute? I just got synchronicity with a question mark. I didn't really get too far with it, but
yeah. The way I would describe synchronicity is just like two systems being in the same place, and this becomes contagious. In my group rooms, we'll often go through times where we kind of experience this escalation of energy. Oftentimes there's humor and playfulness and fun, and then it'll kind of come down into this calmness, more presence, groundedness. And this to me is synchronicity of the group, that we're kind of following these same rhythms, not only internally for ourselves, but it starts to become one with everyone in the room.
Right on. So was there like an inciting incident, or like where did the origins of this come from?
It's funny when you ask me about it. I feel like in a lot of ways, it's humorous that I've been called this energy reader, but I think it's something I've had for a long time. And to be honest, I attribute it to some of the more negative things that have happened in my life. I think I started